So we have lots of great questions from our viewers today.
All right.
So I will start with, do spirit animals give humans clues if they would like to speak to us? For instance, if you begin to see spiders in various areas of your house, is that a message that spiders want to share something with you? Also, when we speak with animals spiritually, are we speaking to the totem spirit of the species or an individual?
All of this depends on the intention of the message and the form of the communication and the need to transmit certain information. So it can be a representation of a totem energy of that animal spiritually. It can be an individual conversation. It's not necessarily true that a certain kind of animal showing up over and over again necessarily means that that particular type of animal wants to communicate with you. It could be representative symbolically of certain things going on in the consciousness of the human in relation to those particular kinds of animals. So the human has to be investigative enough within the self to understand what the reason might be for noticing some form of connection or communication from some form of animal consciousness. You have to be clear within yourself about why this is happening. So it might be representative of an issue that you're facing. It might be representative of a clear communication from a totem animal. It might be representative of communication to an individual idea that you have yet to consider. It could be many different things. So clarity within the self about why this is happening as it relates to the issues you may be facing in your life, the challenges you may be going through, is necessary to discern what that form of communication might be all about.
Is that also something where if you think about the animal, especially if you encounter it, and you go into that resonance with its consciousness and see what kind of information it gives you, because whatever you receive will be relevant in some way because it's coming through the animal and through your higher self, right?
Well, yes, but again, it could simply be not so much that the animal intends a particular message for you, but that synchronistically you have attracted something that represents in resonance, in frequency, a certain idea or issue that you need to look at. So, in other words, you could be calling forth a particular animal that is more than willing to reflect something to you, not that they necessarily originally or initially had an intention of communicating a message to you.
Right. So you're manifesting that, and then you have the ability to tune into that consciousness and see what is reflected back to you by their particular viewpoint of reality.
Yes, or tuning into your own consciousness to understand what that particular animal symbolizes for you.
Right. So it can be so rich.
Oh, yes.
Um, how did the Sasquatch evolve to be so multidimensional, acquiring slipwalking and other high vibrational skills? I don't know of any other animal or plant that it's evolved to have those traits. And I'm wondering, is it I don't know about other creatures who have evolved like that, or is there something special about Sasquatch?
Well, there is, in a sense, something special about the idea of Sasquatch being the original hominid form that evolved on your planet. Now, you already have heard us talk about how cats can see into other dimensions, dogs can see spirits, and so on and so forth. Well, because it's more connected to nature, the Sasquatch hominid already had these abilities and was able, because they are a hominid, to push them with thought processes into a different form of recognition, recognizing parallel realities more clearly, and learning over time how to identify with those parallel realities so strongly, or other dimensions so strongly, that they began to shift into them just by the focus that they concentrated on with regard to their relationship to those particular dimensions or parallel realities, which the animals don't need to do per se. Although there are some animals that can slip in out of other dimensions from time to time. Some insects have this ability, some mammals have this ability, though it's relatively rare because it's relatively unnecessary for them to do so. However, hominids, being a little bit different in the sense of being the foundation of Homo sapiens, had the ability to contemplate certain things and focus on certain other dimensional or parallel realities they were perceiving with their natural abilities. And so in focusing that way, gave themselves the ability to actually shift in directions that most animals don't need to.
It's very interesting.
The dimension most often that the Sasquatch will shift into in their own language is called shunyata, which means emptiness. It is a empty dimension in a sense, not that there isn't something in it, not that there isn't a landscape, but the idea is that it is a place of calm, a place of peace, where nothing else really exists except natural formations and the Sasquatch who are able to visit it. Shunyata, emptiness, peace.
Thank you.
Yes.
In much of the warmer climates of Earth, there seemed to be a constant background sound of insects. Is there a deeper meaning to this resonance that surrounds us? Are we allowing this symphony of sound to impact us individually and collectively in ways that we're not aware of? And can you share how it's impacting us?
Yes, no pun intended, or maybe a pun intended, but a lot of the vibrations of insects that envelop you kind of act like a cocoon, or creating a bubble reality frequency that can help attune you not only to insect consciousness, but also to the idea of global consciousness, and also the idea of natural consciousness, communing with the earth. And the vibration can act as an isolation medium to tune out the things that are inconsequential to you at that moment and allow you more efficacy at tuning into other conscious levels, other realities, so on and so forth. So you can take advantage by tuning into that vibration and letting it sort of transport you in a way to other focuses, other levels of consciousness, and other perspectives.
Sort of like being surrounded by a buzz. And also the idea that when insects are communicating, is it like on Star Trek where it can actually, if you slow it down enough, you would be able to pick up more information about what's being said?
Possibly. It depends upon the form of communication. That may be holographically included within it, so it's not that you're necessarily slowing the whole thing down when you match that frequency, but you might be matching a part of it or aligning with a part of it that contains the ability to extract information from it that you would understand, that you'd be able to translate into your own understanding or language. Nevertheless, the rest of the frequency remains and acts, again, as an isolation bubble to connect you mostly to collective consciousnesses, which the insects excel at.
Right, because they are very much the hive mentality, right?
Yes.
Which is so the individual has a different relationship to the hive mentality. It's much more tuned into what's happening with everybody else.
Yes.
Is that so?
Yes.
Our ability to be very individual, how does that serve us in our particular manifestation?
Because it allows you to express your uniqueness in service to the whole. In other words, back to the analogy of the puzzle picture. Each piece is of a unique shape, but without that unique shape, the whole picture cannot exist.
So we are part of a hive mentality. We just don't necessarily always show our own particular puzzle piece in vibrational harmony.
Yes, the idea again is that if each individual validates the true uniqueness and the true self of each unique puzzle piece, then the whole will serve the individuals as the individuals are serving the whole in a very, very effortless sort of way. It doesn't negate the individual, but it allows both to exist in balance, the whole and the individual.
Would you say that we're designed to be more individualistically conscious, and then we have to really reach out and join the hive on another level, or always be in tune with it and refocus our attention?
In some ways, yes, because then you get to do that from many different, actually an infinite number of unique perspectives, by being an individual that has a unique focus and always reconnecting in different ways to the whole picture. So yes, you are designed to be a co-creator coming from an infinite array of various perspectives that allows creation to expand.
Very exciting.
Yes.
Um, you've said that the ancient pyramids were designed to assist people in astral projection. So are megalithic structures still in use on other worlds? Oh, so are megalithic structures still in use on other worlds? Can you describe one of the more prominent ET megaliths known by the Ascension? And
Yes.
okay, go ahead.
The idea is that that's one of the functions of some of the ancient pyramids, not all of them. It's one of the functions, not the only one, to assist in the idea of astral projection. We've actually shown you a depiction of a megalithic structure that exists on our planet called the Shadok. It's a spiral formation of standing stones and lintels that acts as a gateway and a doorway to other dimensions. So if you wish, you can see this image either in the documentary that was done, First Contact, or an image can be provided and extracted from that documentary that can be shared with all of you. It is called the Shadok, and it is an ancient megalithic structure that is built into the landscape, carved from the landscape into a spiral structure that tunes into various dimensions or locations on the planet. It is an ancient structure on our world.
And as far as structures here on Earth, anything come to mind as being, is it in a sense transformative when you're in the presence of the structure?
It can be. It depends upon the frequencies and what it is you are willing to align with. Many of the ancient megalithic structures and temples on your planet, especially those that contain pyramids and certain kinds of other temples that were built long ago in your history, have the ability to transport your consciousness and shift your consciousness and focus into other dimensionalities and make connections to other layers and levels of not only your own consciousness, but other levels of consciousness belonging to other kinds of interdimensional beings as well.
Can you describe why it is these very large structures, when you're standing next to them, why they impact us the way they do?
Because they give off certain frequencies, certain resonances that are designed to do that. In a sense, it's like taking parts of the world, literally the material of the earth, the stone, and understanding that each unique stone structure and each unique stone material has certain frequencies. So it's like a concert in stone. It's like an orchestration of those different frequencies coming together to create a certain effect.
Yeah, that's very exciting. So it's almost like a telephone system for us, just built right into the earth that we can tune into and access higher frequencies.
Yes, and built out of the earth.
It says, oftentimes when people transition into spirit, it seems like they send a sign to those who are still alive involving the weather. This happened recently when the Queen of England died and a double rainbow appeared over the castle in England close to the moment of her death. How are spirits able to change the weather like this? I know that you've said that weather is a reflection of the emotional state of our collective consciousness, and there is usually a lot of emotion when a loved person passes. Is the spirit able to direct this emotion somehow into the expression of the weather?
Yes, it is a reflection back to those who are giving their hearts to that particular person who has crossed. So the idea is that the vibration of the collective emotion, being very powerful and able to shift weather in certain ways, can in some senses be directed by the spirit like a focusing lens to reflect back to the physical world the representation of their greater soul, their oversoul.
All one thing, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Since today's topic is about tuning in to other vibrations, can you comment on why some of us don't really readily detune from those vibrations? When we can't detune, is it easy to lose our sense of who we really are? What are the common beliefs that would help us and stay enmeshed in other people's vibrations in an unhealthy way?
Well, there can be many beliefs that will do that, both from positive and negative sources of beliefs. You have to examine yourself to find out, because it's not that you can't detune, it's that you won't detune. So you have to find the belief system reason why you believe it's necessary to stay aligned or locked in to a certain vibration of another individual. So it requires self-examination and the motivational mechanism that we have discussed many times to find out what kind of beliefs you are attaching to the motivational mechanism to motivate you to stay aligned with a certain vibration when you may feel you would like to detune from it, but aren't choosing to. So again, it's a matter of choice, and you have to find the belief that's making it seem as if that choice is logical. And again, the idea of maintaining that alignment can be positive or negative. So again, examine yourself and discover what the belief is that's connected to the motivational mechanism that motivates you to stay tuned in to something.
So it's almost like we have this apparatus within us that is constantly looking at what to tune into.
Yes.
And it can be past life kinds of things where you tune into Cleopatra, so to speak.
So to speak.
And, now you're communing with that particular vibration and experiencing things along that. Or you can tune into another human.
Yes.
And you can use it any way you want. Like, even if you tune into a very positive human, you could use that in a negative way by having self-worth issues in comparison to another vibration.
Absolutely. Remember, your greatest power is the freedom to choose. So you can use things however you wish.
But it's very natural to us to constantly look for new things to tune into, in a sense.
Well, you have to kind of constantly do that as a natural mechanism in order to experience your physical reality.
And then whatever you tune into, it's up to you to have a positive interpretation of it, as well as to stay in a centered state with it.
Yes. Otherwise, it may not necessarily give you the benefit that it could.
So that's your precision with the formula.
Always.
So this person is asking, what is the best way to get into the similar or same frequency or resonance to receive messages from higher vibrational beings or spirits?
Love them. Love them passionately. Allow the idea to move you, to transport you, of making those connections. Of course, as always, follow the formula because it contains all the things you need to connect to anything that's relevant for you in your life. But the bottom line is, remember, as we have described in telepathy, it's love, the vibration of love and resonating and identifying with something passionately that allows you to have the same thoughts at the same time and thus create the message within your own mind that is intended to be sent from another consciousness.
And could you help us understand more about parallel realities? I know you said that one can witness others' parallel experiences through a glass wall, but where is the moment or threshold where the worlds would actually split and others on a different frequency would disappear?
Well, that moment may be different for different individuals. The timing is up to you based on a number of different belief systems in terms of your participation in the collective and what purpose that serves, and your participation as an individual and what purpose that serves. So it will be slightly different for everyone, but you'll know the moment when you no longer find that you are able to interact in any way, shape, or form with those who were vibrationally incompatible with you.
And as far as the idea of the glass wall, is there a way we can get a stronger grip on that idea, that it's not a denial of a reality, but rather it's a recognition that...
If it was a denial, you wouldn't be able to see through it.
So if we see something happening in our reality that we find happy, war, things like that that are brought to us through a
Yeah.
television, so to speak.
Yes.
Where is the
Remember,
glass wall there?
right there in between you and what you are observing. The idea is, again, the glass wall is there and transparent for now because it still gives you the option from your side to decide how you want to relate to that, what you're seeing, what you're observing. And it gives the other side the option to decide to either relate or not relate to you who are observing it, and based on whatever living example you're giving of another option for them. So right now, the wall is transparent so that you can have two-way communication and decide for yourselves where you want to wind up, where you want to land in terms of the vibrations you prefer. Therefore, they become more and more opaque, in a sense, as you move on and as you detach from that reality. And that's why you can no longer interact with those individuals, because you can no longer view them. You can no longer see them. You can no longer observe the options that they're giving you because they're not vibrationally compatible with the options that you've chosen. So the glass wall becomes more opaque over time. And thus you wind up only shifting to a reality where you only see vibrational reflections that are at least similar to what it is you prefer. But right now, the walls are transparent to give you the option to choose and the option for others to choose what they see in you.
And this idea that for centuries, humans were not able to watch a TV screen of any kind and see realities that weren't in their present environment.
As the consciousness changes, so does your technology to reflect the abilities that you're granting yourself within your consciousness awakening. So you create inventions and devices that are representative and reflective of new abilities that you've granted within your consciousness.
So that's truly a reflection of our galactic nature, that we've now created things like televisions and monitors that we can watch what's happening anywhere in the world.
And virtual reality programs that allow you to imagine different worlds that you may not necessarily have experienced before.
And was this part of our galactic nature, the promise to us as a planet that we were actually part of a galactic society with all kinds of abilities we had no idea about? And
yes,
we're thinking we were just these physical beings that lived and died, and that was it.
Yes.
Anything else you could say about the promise?
It's not a promise in the way that you mean it. It's simply what is. You are all reflections of all that is. You choose to awaken or you don't in this particular reality. The promise, if you want to use that word, is that you have the capability of awakening to that knowledge. Not that you have to, because the promise also contains the freedom to choose.
It's exciting. Do all of our paralleled lives die at the same time and in the same way, or does each one of them have their own preferred way?
Of course they have their own preferred way, because they're not you. They're not your parallel lives in the way that you might have phrased that question. They're individual people just like you are, and each of them has their own path and their own theme of exploration. There may be some that wish to synchronize with other parallel realities, but no, they don't have to. They're individuals. They have their own individual souls and individual spirits. They are individuals physically. They're not you.